welcome back to my channel Arif Teaches You. I'm Arif, and in this video you can learn about colonialism in India. So if you remember, in the previous video you learned about unification of Germany. In today's video I'm going to talk about two things in colonialism in India. They are forest in India during the British rule and forest in India before the British rule. So let's begin. Let's start with the forest in India before British rule. In India before the British rule, India was mostly covered by greenery. Like, people didn't cut the forest in very large numbers, and the forests were protected really carefully, and people were really careful in the works of the forest. So in India, some people living in forests. People were living in forests, like you live in your house. In India, before the British rule, there were some people living in the forest of India. These people were known as Adivasis. Adivasis are mostly common to the tribal people which live in forests. So they were known as Adivasis. So these Adivasis were mainly known as the owners of the forest. Like, they didn't have a written document like they were the owners of the forest. They were known as the owners of the forest because they cared for the forest and used their products, the forest products. So you know the forest products are rubber and all the tree bearing fruits, neem and all the medicines. Products. They used these products really carefully, and they didn't cut the forest in large numbers as British did in their rule. They didn't do afforestation. They didn't do deforestation. They protected the forest from many things like dangerous animals, forest fires. They helped forests a lot. Now they also bought some products from the forest and used it for themselves. Like, they took wood and made houses. So here, when they want to cut wood, what they did was they didn't cut the whole forest. They cut a really small part of the forest. So most of the part of the forest was covered by green trees and all that. Now let's talk about the British rule, the forest in British rule. When the British established their rule in India and occupied the forest, what they did was they kicked out the Adivasis. Because Adivasis didn't like the British laws for cutting down forests. Because British didn't care about the forest in India. They just care about their wealth, profit and power. So profit in sense that they would get a lot of profit from the forest. Like, they deforested a lot, like a big area of forest, green cover, because they wanted profit. They cut the whole land of forest, high percentage of forests, and cultivated the trees which were profitable to them. Example, timber and rubber. These two trees were very profitable them. And these Adivasis, as I said you, Adivasis carefully protected the forest. They didn't want anybody to devastate the whole forest. Hence they didn't like the policies of the British. That's obvious. And British didn't like these Adivasis. So they kicked these Adivasis out of the forest, and these poor Adivasis were on the street and they had no food to eat. They didn't give their families, and their families were ruined a lot. Now for the saving of the British, as most of the forests were cut down and it was very destructive for the world. So British thought for this, and they made a department known as the Forest Department. They made this department to ensure the security of the forest. They built a department known as Forest Department. Forest Department, or FD, Forest Department. This Forest Department ensured the security of the forest. Like they didn't cut a large number of forests, forest cover, green cover, and now the British were too evil that they like the area which was cut down, they didn't grow the trees like mango, banyan and all that to increase the green cover. They grew the trees which were profitable to them, which I said you, timber and rubber. Now the Adivasis were very angry. Now in the next video, I'll say you the revolts of the Adivasis, because they were angry, they revolted against the British. Now in the next video, I'll say you about the Adivasi revolts. So till then, good luck and remember everything I said you. And thank you guys for watching my video.